If you have ever achieved something meaningful by being authentically yourself, you have probably discovered a disturbing paradox. The more successful you become by honoring your difference, the lonelier you feel. The same psychological traits that create your breakthrough thinking also isolate you from people who cannot relate to how your mind works. The same intensity that drives your innovation makes others uncomfortable. The same depth that generates your insights makes small talk feel impossible. This is not a coincidence. This is not a character flaw. This is the hidden price of what psychologists call the outsider advantage. Here's what no one tells you about feeling different. The same wiring that made you feel broken as a child is precisely what creates extraordinary value as an adult. The sensitivity that others called weakness becomes your ability to notice opportunities they miss. The intensity they labeled as too much becomes your capacity to push through obstacles they cannot handle. The weird thoughts that got you rejected become the innovative ideas that change entire industries. But there's a brutal psychological tax that comes with this advantage, a form of success-induced isolation that can destroy you if you don't understand how to navigate it. The more you win by being genuinely different, the fewer people can relate to your journey. Your victories feel hollow because no one understands what you actually overcame. Your achievements feel surreal because others attribute them to luck rather than the courage to trust your different perspective for years. Take a moment to absorb that reality. What follows reveals why feeling different is actually your psychological superpower, disguised as a personal problem. Why your childhood rejection was preparation for adult influence. How the same traits that cause you pain also create breakthrough success. And most importantly, how to use your outsider advantage without being destroyed by the loneliness it inevitably creates. Here's a truth that will make you uncomfortable. You were never supposed to fit in. Your brain was wired differently from the beginning. Every painful moment of rejection was actually your psychology developing the exact skills you would need later. Picture a child sitting alone at lunch while other kids laugh and play together. This child notices patterns in behavior that others miss. They feel the emptiness behind social performances. They ask questions that make adults uncomfortable and think thoughts that seem too deep for their age. The education system immediately labels this child as a problem. Too sensitive, too intense, too different. The other children sense this difference and respond with the cruelty that only children can deliver. The child learns a devastating lesson. Being authentic leads to rejection. Being real leads to pain. Being yourself leads to isolation. So the child develops what psychologists call a false self, a mask designed to help them survive in a world that punishes authenticity. They learn to hide their depth behind shallow conversations. They learn to dim their intensity to avoid making others uncomfortable. They learn to translate their complex inner world into simple concepts that others can accept. But something crucial happens during this process. While other children are learning to think as part of a group, the outsider child is forced to develop independent thinking. While others are learning to follow social cues, the outsider is learning to trust their own perception. While others are getting their validation from external approval, the outsider is developing an internal compass. This psychological independence becomes their superpower, but it comes at a cost that most people never have to pay. The culture that rejected you was never designed to nurture authentic human potential. It was designed to create predictable, manageable profitable consumers who never question why their lives feel empty despite checking all the approved boxes. From kindergarten to corporate environments, the message is always the same. Sit still. Don't ask uncomfortable questions. Color inside the lines. Follow the predetermined path. Be like everyone else and you'll be rewarded with belonging, security, and social approval. This isn't education. This is domestication. The systematic training of human beings to suppress their natural instincts, authentic expressions, and innovative thinking in exchange for the illusion of safety and acceptance. Now, some people do find genuine fulfillment within conventional paths. The issue isn't with individuals who thrive in traditional structures. The problem is with a system that only validates one way of being human while pathologizing or marginalizing other forms of authentic expression. But some people cannot be domesticated. Some people have psychological wiring that refuses to accept convenient lies. These are the people who see through social performances, who feel the deadness behind successful facades, who notice that everyone is pretending everything is fine while slowly dying inside. These are the people who become dangerous to conformist pressures, not because they want to destroy anything, but because their very existence proves that another way is possible. Their authenticity highlights everyone else's performance. Their aliveness exposes everyone else's numbness. Their questions threaten the comfortable assumptions that keep people trapped in unfulfilled potential. So the system responds with increasing pressure to conform, social rejection, professional marginalization, psychological gaslighting designed to make the outsider believe that they are the problem, that their difference is a defect, that their inability to fit in proves they are fundamentally flawed. But here's where the psychology of being different becomes complex and often painful. The same traits that make you capable of creating extraordinary value often make you challenging to be around for people who are still trapped in conventional thinking patterns. Your ability to see what others cannot see means you're constantly noticing problems that others would prefer to ignore. Your depth means you want to explore topics that others find uncomfortable or threatening. Your authenticity means you cannot fake enthusiasm for things that don't matter to you. Your intensity means you experience both joy and pain more deeply than most people can handle. This creates what can be called the innovation loneliness loop. The more successful you become by being authentically different, the fewer people can relate to your experience. Your insights feel obvious to you, but revolutionary to others. Your creative process feels natural to you, but mysterious to others. Your way of seeing the world feels normal to you, but strange to others. Consider the entrepreneur who builds a company around a vision that others initially dismiss as impossible or unnecessary. They persist through years of rejection, doubt, and misunderstanding. Finally, their vision proves successful and profitable. But now they face a different kind of isolation. Few people understand the psychological journey of creating something from nothing. Even fewer can relate to the responsibility and pressure that comes with breakthrough success. Or think about the artist who spends decades developing a unique voice, creating work that expresses their authentic vision rather than following current trends or market demands. When their work finally gains recognition, they discover that fame often means being misunderstood on a larger scale. People project their own meanings onto the work. Critics analyze techniques that felt intuitive. Fans want more of the same, when the artist needs to keep evolving. This is the price of authentic success. When you win by being genuinely different, you cannot celebrate with people who achieve success by fitting in. Your victories feel hollow because no one understands what you actually overcame. Your achievements feel surreal when others attribute them to luck rather than the courage to trust your different perspective over years or decades of social pressure to conform. Most outsiders eventually reach a point where the loneliness becomes unbearable. This is when they make a crucial decision that will determine whether they fulfill their potential or sabotage their own success. The temptation is to find their tribe, to surround themselves with people who understand them, to finally experience the belonging they were denied in childhood. This sounds healthy and reasonable, but it often becomes a psychological trap that destroys the very thing that made them valuable in the first place. The problem is that truly different people often discover that their authentic tribe doesn't exist yet. They might have to create it. They might have to be alone until others develop the courage to join them. They might have to be misunderstood until their difference becomes undeniable and others finally see its value. Most people cannot handle this level of psychological independence. The pain of isolation eventually overwhelms their commitment to authenticity. They start compromising their vision to appeal to larger audiences. They water down their message to avoid offending anyone. They soften their edges to fit into existing communities. They betray their difference to buy belonging. This is how conformist pressures ultimately win, not by destroying outsiders directly, but by convincing them to destroy themselves, by making them believe that being understood is more important than being authentic, by selling them the lie that they need external validation to know their own worth. The tragic irony is that the moment an outsider starts conforming to gain acceptance, they lose the very thing that made them special. Their insights become predictable. Their creativity becomes formulaic. Their authenticity becomes performance. They end up with neither genuine belonging nor meaningful contribution. So how do you navigate this psychological minefield? How do you honor your difference without becoming consumed by bitterness about others' blindness? How do you use your outside advantage without losing your humanity in the process? The answer lies in understanding that your role isn't to choose between authenticity and connection. Your role is to model how authenticity creates deeper connection, how being real attracts real people, how honoring your difference gives others permission to honor theirs. This requires a fundamental shift in how you think about belonging. Traditional belonging is based on similarity. You fit in because you share values, interests, backgrounds, or behaviors with a group. But authentic belonging is based on recognition. You connect with people who see and value your true nature, even when it's different from their own. Instead of trying to find your tribe, you learn to attract your tribe. Instead of conforming to existing communities, you create communities around your authentic values. Instead of hiding your difference, you lead with it as a gift that the world needs. Here's how this works in practice. When you share your authentic thoughts and ideas openly, whether through your work, online platforms, or even just deeper conversations, you send out a signal. This signal doesn't attract everyone, but it attracts the right people. Those who resonate with your authentic frequency find you. When others see you being courageously authentic, it gives them permission to do the same. Your willingness to be misunderstood demonstrates that it's safe to be real. Your refusal to dim your light shows them they don't have to dim theirs. You become proof that authenticity isn't only possible, but powerful. Start by identifying one area where you consistently hide your true thoughts or interests. Share one weird idea you usually keep quiet about. Initiate one conversation that goes deeper than surface level. These small acts of authenticity become magnets for genuine connection. This means accepting that you'll always be understood by fewer people than those who conform to popular expectations. But the people who do understand you will understand you more deeply than most people ever experience being understood. The connections you make will be based on truth rather than convenience, depth rather than surface compatibility, authentic recognition rather than social performance. This approach reduces the loneliness, but doesn't eliminate it entirely. You're trading the shallow loneliness of being misunderstood by many for the manageable loneliness of being deeply understood by few. The difference is that this loneliness feels worthwhile because it comes from integrity rather than isolation. You also have to embrace your role as what can be called a cultural immune system. Your difference isn't a personal quirk or individual preference. It's an evolutionary adaptation designed to help humanity navigate challenges that conventional thinking cannot solve. You're designed to notice what isn't working, to question what everyone else accepts, to imagine alternatives to the status quo. This is your contribution to collective healing and advancement, not to fit in, but to stand out in ways that serve the larger good. Not to be normal, but to be so authentically yourself that you expand what others believe is possible for human expression and achievement. Your difference isn't an accident. It isn't a mistake. It isn't something to overcome, fix, or heal away. It's your assignment, your mission, your unique way of participating in the ongoing creation of a more conscious, creative, and authentic world. The people who are meant to understand you will find you when you stop hiding who you are. The opportunities that match your authentic frequency will magnetize to you when you stop pretending to be someone else. The impact you're designed to make will emerge naturally when you stop apologizing for your difference and start owning it as the gift it has always been. Your uniqueness isn't a bug in your programming. It's the feature that makes you irreplaceable. Your intensity isn't too much for the world. It's exactly what's needed to cut through the numbness and wake people up. Your difference isn't a problem to solve. It's the solution the world has been waiting for. Stop trying to fit into a world that was never designed for conscious human beings. Start building the world that is. Stop apologizing for being different. Start being so authentically yourself that you give others permission to do the same. What difference are you ready to stop hiding? What uniqueness are you ready to own as your superpower? Share your outsider story in the comments. Your courage to be different might be exactly what another outsider needs to hear to finally stop apologizing for their authenticity and start using it to change the world.